Hey everyone, my name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. If you like making money, subscribe to the channel. I talk a lot about commodities and undervalued financial opportunities in the market. If that seems like it's interesting to you, I would definitely subscribe and ride this big commodity bull market up with this channel, with myself and everyone else in the community on the channel. I'm going to do a market update here. I'm going to talk about some of the commodities, look at their charts, and then do some of the diversified mining companies afterwards. I know I show a lot of kind of smaller developer companies, exploration companies. I'm going to go into the diversified mining companies in this particular presentation. So here's market update. Diversified mining companies. Let's look at the commodity charts themselves, get into some of the diversified mining companies that have large dividends. And again, I think that these companies will do well over the commodity bull market. So copper. Looks like we broke out of its little flag pattern here. We had a nice little consolidation pattern. It broke to the upside. Sometimes these like to back test, but I think the path of least resistance is higher. I think we're going to see a nice good move. Now, crude oil, same thing. If you draw this guy down, we kind of broke to the upside. It may pull back a little before moving on up. But I do have high expectations. I am hoping that oil does very well this summer. I don't see why it wouldn't. I think people being in their house want to get out. They want to travel. They want to maybe do some plane rides, go on some vacations. It all requires more oil. So I think oil is going to do well over this summer. Here's gold. Looks like gold's getting some life back into it. Is this a for sure bottom? Not 100% sure, but it looks promising with larger candlestick up days, all showing its face over here. Over here was a bunch of down days. Over here is a bunch of up days. That momentum is changing. Maybe it takes another month or so or longer to consolidate in this area before moving on up. We do have a lot of resistance in here before we see very large moves maybe later this year. Silver's in the same boat. We've been kind of just tracking sideways over time. We're getting a little bit more frequency of up days, but we still have more work to put in. We might be chopping sideways for another month or so. Maybe not. We'll see. Now, getting into the diversified mining companies, this is VALE. I think this looks pretty good. This was a big chart pattern break back here. We're moving on up. And remember, these companies and almost anything, commodities companies, they move in cycles. They have these impulse moves higher, and then they've got these consolidation periods. We've got an impulse move higher here, and then we've got a consolidation period here. And now it's starting to move on up. Remember, we've got copper moving up, and I think nickel and a lot of the other commodities will probably move higher as well. These are going to track those commodities. So this is moving on up, looking pretty good. BHP. Looks like we've got a little bit of maybe near-term downward pressure. We got a nice kind of bearish engulfing here. We might come back just a little bit before we head on up. Maybe we put in a shoulder head and maybe we come back a little bit. We'll see. I usually just buy these things and kind of hold on. Not trying to trade in and out. Rio Tinto coming into a little bit. We might see a little bit of a pullback here before heading higher. But this one's looking pretty good. Nice big breakout over here coming on up. South 32 is looking pretty good. Nice big move higher. A little bit of consolidation period coming here. We might chop sideways a little bit longer before moving on up. Wheaton Precious Metals, a royalty precious metals company, broke its downtrend. Looks like it's coming on up. Sure, this thing maybe tomorrow might head down a little bit and then move on up. It's tough to say on the very short-term basis, but the downtrend's broken. We are going into a new uptrend, and I think it looks pretty good. Here's Norilsk Nickel. They sell copper, nickel, and the platinum group metals. If you kind of draw this in here, it looks like it broke this kind of consolidation pattern in here to the upside. So this is looking pretty good. I purchased some more in my portfolio in this region down here. So that's where I bought. Looking pretty good. I waited for this to come down, and then it did one of these, and I bought, I think, right in here around 31. And that's what I've got for today. So these big diversified mining companies, they're going to do well during this next commodity boom. They've got the potential. to go over a 10x. From where they're at today, I don't, maybe not. From earlier, definitely over 10x from where they started in 2016, 2017. But these will do well. They're not going to be the high flyers like some of the other smaller caps, but I think they are worth a look at. That's what I think, and I own each and every one of these in my portfolio in pretty good amounts, bigger amounts than my original investments in most of these companies is bigger than the other companies that I own. I have overweighted some developer kind of high debt and developer companies like Encore Energy, high debt ones being SM, CDEV, and CPE. And then I also put a little bit extra money into Bannerman, Deep Yellow, Goviax, some of these other type developer companies that have exploration and are developing mines. NXE was another one, Next Gen Energy. I own a little bit more on that one. So I've kind of overweighted these ones where I thought had high probabilities of putting in developing mines that could potentially do very well in the next uranium boom. These diversified miners, they have diversified income streams from different mines, and they're gigantic companies. So I think that these guys are going to be, everyone's going to have to go to them to make other companies wealthy. Tesla cannot be successful unless these guys are successful. All of these electric companies, all these renewable companies, they're going to be coming to these types of companies and saying, we need all the stuff you produce. Or they're going to buy them out. I don't know. So that's why I'm in a lot of these companies. They're providing the foundational wealth for the world. That's my viewpoint. If you're in an exploration company, that's a hit and miss. It's sometimes they're going to hit stuff, sometimes they're not, and I just don't pile into those as heavily as some of these other companies. So, if you guys like this content, give me a thumbs up. Leave comments below if you got anything, any questions on anything, and thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.